gon' call me Jiggy when I'm home, they call me Snowman here. We ain't never home, but treat the city like the base, yeah. You know where to look if you're looking for the wave, yeah. Looking for the...
What's happening? What it do? What's going down? Welcome to another episode of the EuroSteppin Podcast. Snowman, I heard the weather a little shaky over there in Seattle, man. What it's looking like?
I wouldn't call it shaky. Somebody called me and said, man, I heard you was everywhere in Seattle. I said, you know what? I am.
Oh, okay.
Snowing, baby.
Okay.
It's snowing.
Well, it's, at least it ain't raining.
Right. We'll take it.
At least when somebody jump off the building, they can have a soft landing. Anyway, man, we got another guest on here who's been putting up a lot of numbers. Great player, had a great college career, got drafted into the NBA, and had a couple of years stint over in Europe. In 2013, he got drafted to the Sacramento Kings, played for the Reno Bighorns, and also played for the San Antonio Spurs. He was an NBA D-League All-Star. He's been a Horizon League Player of the Year. He's been a two-time first-team All-Horizon League, Horizon League Newcomer of the Year, and also a McDonald's All-American. Welcome to the show, Ray McCallum. Ray, man, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for giving us your time.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited about this. We would love to have the guests who kind of done it all, a little, even if it's been in a short period of time, just all the different things you've been able to do in your career. Hopefully we get a chance to touch on all of it. So look, can you start with, I like to start with, where were you when you knew you were Player of the Year in your conference and you were looking at, am I going to the league? Am I not? Like, where was your head at in that process? What were you hearing?
Yeah, for sure. So when it started off, I had got Player of the Year, and then we went to the conference tournament, and we accidentally lost. Man, we lost at Valpo to Wright State. They beat us at the buzzer. That year we had won our conference too. So in Horizon League, we come from a smaller conference. You got to win the tournament really to get to the NCAA tournament. So the year before, my sophomore year, we had won and we, made it to the tournament. So we were trying to go back to back. Unfortunately lost, and we ended up going to the NIT. But I remember before the NIT game, it was like a lot of talk, like, am I going to leave? Am I going to stay? Right. Obviously, my pops is my coach. I'll never forget. I went and met with him, and at that time, you could like send in a list to the NBA, and you get your feedback, whether you are first round, second round, whatever. Yeah. And at that time, they had me like 25 to 35. That's where I was projected. So I'll be honest, I went in my pop's office and I was like, hey, like it's been real, but it's probably gonna be our, let's try to make it NIT, but if not, like I'm out.
Love you, Pops.
Dad was like, huh?
Love you, Pops, but I gotta go.
Yeah, my Pops, he was like, hey, like let's do it. But then the next day, like it was like coach, he was the coach came out and he was like, no, like maybe you should come back, whatever. But I think at that point I kind of knew like it was time for me to go ahead and make that jump.
Yeah.
So you was at Detroit Mercer. We had another guest who's also a close friend of mine, who went to Detroit also. I think he's the highest top scorer in school history.
Yeah.
Hold on, time out. Oh, Dave, I was going to try to get him to see if he knew.
Sure, Rashad Phillips, for sure.
Yeah, man, my God. We played together in Europe. That's when we played. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him, man. That's him. That's his school. He's got it. He's in the banner. I'm very fortunate enough. He let me wear number 3. It was retired. I'll never forget my freshman year. They did a whole ceremony and he let me rock the number 3 jersey. So I appreciate him for that. And he's doing his thing now, man, with the whole Yoda and everything. So
yeah, Yoda.
Yeah, I'm glad to see him over for sure.
That's dope. So you get drafted. Can you talk about that experience, the going through the process, your workouts, your who you were going up against. Can you talk about that process?
Yeah. So then next, I think I went out to LA, did the whole pre-draft and everything, and I think I had like 13 workouts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like, for me, was like, let me show what I can do, because the knock on me was, oh, he's coming from a small school and, he ain't play these type of players or whatever. So when I got in those workouts, like, that was my time to like really try to get it in, show that, I was up there with the, with the best of the best. And I think I had some good workouts. I think how I got to Sacramento is because I went and worked out for the Denver Nuggets. And at the time, it was like George Karl was there, but the front office who was with the Nuggets, they actually left, and a lot of them went to Sac. So they had like the 28th or 29th pick in the first round. So I'm thinking, like, I had a good workout. Everything was cool with my agent, and I'm thinking, like, I might go first round to Denver. And then I'll never forget the day after the workout, man, I'm in the airport, and I think George Karl was the coach of the year that year. I think he got fired like the next day.
Yeah, he did get fired.
Yeah. And then I'm like, man, this is crazy. And then like a week later, the front office went to Sac. So I'm like, man, it's over with. Like, I'm not going there. So then I think they added some more workouts to my like teams I had more NBA workouts, and then I ended up finishing that process, and then I had no idea going into the day of the draft where I was going to go. I had somewhat an idea. They named like the 5 teams it could be, and then it was a blessing. I ended up going 36 to Sac.
That's a tremendous blessing. So you get to Sac, and can you talk a little bit about how a rookie coming into a situation, how you're being treated, how you're being respected or not respected? Can you touch on some of those things?
Yeah, for sure. So coming in, it was Ben McLemore. He was a lottery pick. He's one of my best friends to this day. And then I was a second round pick. I had Isaiah Thomas there, and DeMarcus Cousins were like the 2 main guys on the team, which I knew Cuz a little bit from like high school and stuff. He was a year older than me, so we were kind of cool. And then IT had hit me up right away. And y'all know how he is. He's the ultimate vet, great dude. I'm sure you know him being in Seattle.
Of course.
And, so like having that helped for sure. So I felt like, I had a little respect from those 2 guys. And then coming in, it was, summer league. And it's like, that's your time to show like what you can do a little bit. And, they were down there, and you had Marcus Thornton, we had Travis Outlaw.
Yeah.
We had John Salmons. We had Chuck Hayes. We had some like older guys, you know what I mean, that had been around. And we all hit it off pretty well. But going into camp, it was like I was a 4th point guard. So, a kid, like, your whole life, you're always normally the best player, middle school, high school. I played for my pops in college at a small school. I'm getting off. Then now it's like the first time it's like, dang, like I'm the fourth guy in my position.
Yeah.
But that's like when the real grind started, when you get there, you get the training camp, and then I think you just you go in and you earn your respect, compete every day, play hard. And I think that's why I got along with everybody. And I think I had respect from day one.
Mm-hmm.
So you did a couple of years in the NBA, GLeague, but then you come to a point where you decide you want to come to Europe.
Yeah.
What made you make that decision instead of keep trying to grind to stick in the league?
I think at a certain point, you got to understand, like, what is it you're really trying to get out of it. And you kind of realize that the NBA is so much of a business, and that there's so many other opportunities where you can go and play and set yourself up financially and still have a great career and, feel like you're important and a part of the team. Now, I did, my 2 years in SAC, got traded to San Antonio my 3rd year, and I got waived, finished the season there with Memphis. In the 4th year, like, in my mind, I'm an NBA player. Like, I gotta, sure, I'm an NBA player. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I go to camp with the Pistons. I make the team. In 48 hours before our first game, I got waived. Then I had an opportunity to come over to play in Russia. At the time, I didn't know anything about Europe like that. You know what I mean? To be honest, I didn't really understand like the whole European basketball. I didn't know about EuroLeague. I didn't know Euro Cup, Champions League. I didn't know. I had just seen pictures of some of the homies that have been playing over there.
Yeah.
And, you know, my whole life, I'm like grinding, like I'm grinding to make it to the NBA, not knowing about the whole other side of Europe.
Yeah.
And then I want to say after that 4th year, I played in the D League. I had got called up to Charlotte, but I didn't play. I went to Summer League that summer, and like I was like coming off the bench, dealing with all that, and I was like, man, this ain't really it, you know. And reality kind of sets in, and then I had offers coming from Europe and EuroLeague, and still I didn't know anything about it. But it was like, it's time to go make some money, and it's some time to go and have an actual role where you can really just develop.
Yep.
And for the NBA players, guys in the NBA who go over to Europe, your agent spins it to you like, okay, we're going to send you over there. It's EuroLeague, it's high level Europe. You come over here, play really well, and you're going to go right back to the NBA. Like, so as the guys coming from the league, that's kind of our mentality. That's what you think. But when I got there, I realized it's a whole different world. It's something totally different I'm putting myself into.
So, man, that's what we want. That's literally, that's a huge part of why we created this platform. That story, right? Please tell that story. What'd you recognize in that moment when you came over?
So I think a little bit like with Europe, if you're coming from the NBA, if you have an NBA resume, whatever, whether you maybe played 100 games or you might even play 20 games, something about them teams liking to sign a guy who's got an NBA jersey on in a picture, and they can say, we signed so-and-so who played for the Clippers, you know? And I think the problem is with guys making the jump from the NBA to Europe is, take the money aside. You might be offered a lot of money for a team, and for sure you're going to take it, but that might not be the best situation for you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a fact.
Like, from my experience in Europe, you might get a guy who you didn't really know about in college like that, or he never touched the NBA, but he started off like here in Europe, and now he's here.
Yep.
When you come from the NBA, they look at the NBA like, we don't like the NBA. Like, that's not real basketball. What we're playing here is real basketball.
Right.
So we think, coming from the NBA, we thinking like, to be honest, I'm thinking, I'm going to come over here, kill.
Yep.
And then I'm going to get right back. And so I get over there. Mind you, my first year, I went to Spain.
Yeah.
I'm in the ACB.
It was a great situation. Great situation.
So,
beautiful city, everything.
So I'm thinking, you know, okay, they're like, hey, the beach, Malaga, Spain, it's the best league. It's only 2 Americans. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, like, it's going to be straight. I get over there, and it's a different story. It's a totally different game. I'm cool. The travel and all the hotel and all that, but then it's like, then you got roommates. I'm like, man, grown men in here, we got roommates, you know? And then it's like,
on the road.
Yeah, you know, and I moved a lot, man. I moved 16 times in my life, so I can adjust and adapt to other situations. But just certain guys coming from the NBA, like, the living conditions might not be the same. Traveling, taking buses, food, everything. Like, nah, this ain't the Ritz-Carlton, and you ain't taking a jet everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, nah, it's a different type of grind.
Yeah.
I think that's where guys struggle. And I think the biggest part is like, we don't know about Europe. Now it's different because of social media. Like, we can see it a little bit differently, and like guys, you can see how they're living. But, you know, let's see, 3-4 years ago when I went over there, it wasn't really like that. But I think the problem is, you know, an agent kind of throws you somewhere because of the money, but it's maybe not the best thing for your career at that time.
So when you made the decision to take the job in Europe, what was going through your head? What was you thinking? Were you nervous? You didn't know what to expect? Were you anxious? Tell me about it.
Man, hell yeah, I was nervous. I was sitting there. It was like kind of maybe like middle end of July. And my agent at the time is calling me. He's like pressing me like, hey, like, we got this job, this ACB team, EuroLeague, Spain, Like, I think this could be a great opportunity. I'm like, what? Malaga? Like, I didn't even know it was Malaga. I'm calling it Malaga. You know what I mean? I can't pronounce it. It's Unicaja. I'm calling it Unicaja. Like, you don't know. I'm calling my friends. Like, we don't know nothing about it. My family, everyone's like, what? You know, and then it happens fast because then the team's like, well, we need to know because, like, if you're not going to take it, then we got to take this guy. And then they're telling me I got to leave in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, you want me to move all the way to a whole nother country in 2 weeks? Like, I'm not ready to, you know, I'm like, what's going on? Yeah. So it was like really fast. Mm-hmm. And then, like, luckily, I knew one of my good friends now to this day, Kyle Fogg, had played there the year before me. So I had I was able to talk to him, and he was kind of able to give me the background on it. I was able to ask a couple other people about, you know, just going over there. And, you know, everyone's like, no, that's a great situation for you and everything. And,
right.
You know, but it happens so fast, bro.
Right. So I'm an agent now, right? And sometimes you just get to moving in the business. You're working and you've been doing it so long, you just get to kind of moving as an agent, right? Yeah. And you forget sometimes to slow down and say, hey man, this guy has no understanding of what he's getting into. He doesn't understand that this is a incredibly great opportunity and situation for him. He doesn't have any clue. He doesn't have. So sometimes it's hard to remind yourself, you know what, I got to slow down and help him understand all that this is. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
You know, with an agent, you seen the bread too. You like, okay, and then it's the EuroLeague, and then this could be great for him. Mm-hmm. But there's other factors that go into it.
Sure.
Is, okay, who's the coach?
Yeah.
See, in the NBA, if the GM says, I want Ray McCallum, then Ray McCallum's going to play. It don't really matter who the coach is because your role and stuff is kind of controlled through the front office. But in Europe, it's opposite. I feel like the GM might want you; they can sign you because it looks good for the team. But that coach is the one who's going to put you in that.
The game. Coach, yes. I'm glad you said that because we have not touched on that since. Yeah. In Europe, the coaches build the teams.
The coaches build the team.
They have a lot of input, like either they do it by themselves, maybe the GM have some input, but final say goes to the coach.
More often than not. Not in every case, but more often than not, for sure.
Yeah. And it's not like in the NBA, this guy's making $10 million this year. So he got to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in Europe, it don't matter how much you're making.
No.
If you ain't producing,
you're going to sit on that bench.
You're sitting on the bench.
Facts.
So I think that's like really important too. When like now I'll be telling my friends like, hey, who's the coach? You got to know who's coaching. Does the coach want you? You know, because the front office might just want to sign you because it looks good. The team's losing. They can say, hey, we got this former NBA player or whatever the case might be. You know, a lot of teams want to sign names, but who's that coach is going to really what's going to come down to, I think.
Right.
So you make that season, right? You get through that season.
Yeah.
Successfully.
Solid.
Okay. That's why I said it, because I want you to touch on it.
A lot of ups and downs.
A lot of ups.
Wait, but hold on. Before you touch on that, I want to ask this question. So you not knowing nothing about Europe. Mind it, you went to Spain, to Malaga, which people don't know is a great situation. The city's beautiful. You got the beaches, the weather. You got everything working in your favor, right? What was the culture shock that you experienced over there? Like, what did you see that make you say, man, I can't believe that they doing this or they have this here?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the first thing was, and y'all gonna clown me, but the Spanish, right? You know, I'm thinking like
That's different.
I'm
It's
thinking
a different thing.
Mexican Spanish, you know, pesos
Nah.
and with the whole Cabo or, you know, Cancun type of Mexico. So I get out there, they speaking super fast. And not only super fast, like in the south of Spain, like they got a whole different kind of like dialect in Spain.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they got like a little lisp out there and they talking super fast. And I'm like, bro, this ain't the Spanish like that I knew taking Spanish in school. Like, I'm like, what is this?
Totally different.
And then the coach spoke English, but then it was a lot of stuff in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there like, I'm like my Spanish ain't like that, you know. And all my teammates, it was like, you know, you had 2 Americans, and then everybody else was like European, but they spoke Spanish too. So just being in the locker room, just hearing all the different languages was probably the first thing for me. I was kind of like, how is this gonna go? But it ended up being cool though, for sure.
Is it trippy sometimes? Like it feels like they just expect you to understand.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, I don't know what are you saying? Calling out the plays in Spanish too. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to count like,
you know,
those trays, like, you know what I'm saying? What? Anything outside of 10, like I don't know. You know what I mean? But I got better as the year went on though.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, nah.
No, but the funny thing about that is these teams don't take that into account. They see you maybe struggling or you ran the wrong play when they call tres, right? And you didn't know that was 3. You like,
right.
No,
I'm running dose. You know what I mean?
It's not that you don't know the play. It's that, man, I literally didn't understand you. So many guys run into that. So it's funny and it's great that you told that story. So you move on from there.
Mm-hmm.
And what's next for you? Are you thinking, okay, I did what my agent said. I'm back to the league now. What's up?
No. I'm realistic, man. So I knew that I wanted to try to do it again. And I was like, I like the EuroLeague. I was like, but I thought for me, I just needed a different, you know, maybe situation. I mean, don't get me wrong, Malaga was great. I loved the fans and everything was, and my teammates, it was cool. The city was all love, but in that situation for me, it was kind of hard to play that style. So then the Turkey comes up. So for me, I see the kid last year, Scotty Wilbekin, killing. And I'm thinking, that's when they hit me up. They were Euro Cup the year before they won it, and I'm thinking like, man, I seen Brad Wanamaker was there. All the guards, Americans that have been really through there, like, cats was eating, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's what I need. Like, Turkey is more Americanized league, I kind of thought.
Yep.
I thought Turkey and Italy and Israel, I was like, they kind of let you play more. They kind of rock, you know? It could be
It's more physical.
Yeah. And I was like, that's kind of probably better for me. So when then that came up, I remember that, like, we jumped on it quick. Like, they were hitting me. They're like, I remember it was like the 4th of July. And that, like, probably July 2nd, the team was like, hey, we want to sign you, whatever. And they was like, we got to do it now. I'm like, damn, I can't wait and see what else I got. Like, but then I knew, like, who had been there and the success they had and everything. Even though David Blatt wasn't there and everything, I was thinking, like, Turkish league would be good for me. And then when that came up, we jumped on it pretty quick. And I thought, you know, it's going to be a great situation. I can go to Turkey. And, you know, like, I have a year of European experience under my belt. I played in Spain, which for me probably was the toughest league, just like domestically. Just the style of play. I was like, I think I can really show my game. Get there, and it started off cool.
Yep.
And then them L's just started trickling down. It was game after game. And it got to a point where it was, now I'm the one we're gonna point the fingers at, you know? And that's what comes with it, you know, that's the responsibility you want. But I mean, it just got to a point where it was like, we just kept losing. And I was supposed to play both Turkish games and EuroLeague games. And then it was like, then I wasn't playing the Turkish games. I was only playing the EuroLeague games. Then I'm like, yo, what's going on? Then my minutes in the EuroLeague started going down. And then we changed the coach. And then, like I said, if the coach ain't really rocking with you, and the coach who was there, who ended up getting fired, was the one who brought me there, it was just a whole different story at that point.
Ray, tell me this. Tell me this, Ray. You're absolutely right about the coaching thing, no doubt. But tell me this: how were you feeling in that space when they get to issuing blame? Were you feeling like you were, if you're now looking back at it, reflecting on it, can you say you felt like you were handling your business the way that you should have, or you feel like, you know what, I probably should have been doing this or that, or what's your perspective now looking back at it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously looking back in any situation hoop-wise, I always think like, I could always have been better. I could have done this. I could have done that. But I don't think that situation was like to the point where it was like they had to point the finger at me and like try to make me kind of the scapegoat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that season we had talent. We had good names on the roster. And those are my guys to this day. We still got group texts and everything, but it didn't really mesh. Like we had a lot of guys playing EuroLeague for the first time and some guys in Europe for the first time. And it was like the team was just kind of put together. And, you know, EuroLeague is just Europe in general. It's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even in the Turkish league, it doesn't matter if you're EuroLeague, Euro Cup, it doesn't matter. Like that team's playing one game a week and they got you circled on the schedule. Like you're EuroLeague, so they're coming for you.
Yep.
And I think it was just a combination of everything. We just had, you know, just a lot of new with everything, and it just didn't work out the best. Obviously, I wish I would have played better. You know, I don't know if I might maybe scored more, whatever the case might be. I don't know if that would have changed the wins and the losses. I think I would just kind of got stuck in a bad position at the wrong time.
The thing about Turkey, which is kind of different than a lot of leagues in Europe, it don't matter if it's the first place team or last place team. You might end up getting popped.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody going at you.
Yeah,
for sure. And that's what I realized. Like in Europe in general, it don't like any like domestic game you can lose any day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and especially if you have a EuroLeague team title behind you, like they're coming for you. And yeah, Turkey was different. It was way different than Spain because we lost our first game to the team Gaziantep.
Yeah.
And like before the game, you know, I don't know none of the Turkish teams. I knew Efes and Fener, and that was it.
Right.
I had played against them the year before. So I didn't know this team, whatever. I knew some of the guys on the team. And everyone's acting like, oh, like we should blow this team out. We lost at the crib. You know what I mean? And like it was a big deal. And I'm like, but they was solid. Like they were nice. You know what I mean? Y'all act like just because the team name, like what they did last year, it wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
They came in and they popped us at the crib, and like that set the tone from the whole season. Like we lost that, and it was all bad. And then like the EuroLeague game we played against Madrid, I played well, but we lost. Then we came home and we won. We won a EuroLeague game, but we lost to Efes. So now we're 0-2 in Turkish league. So now it was like it was all bad. And then Barcelona came in, and I remember we had a chance to beat Barcelona at the crib, but like let's be realistic now. Like
Dave, listen to this schedule.
we're playing some teams now, and we're trying to figure it out still.
Right.
And it was like I knew something was when Barcelona beat us at home, and they was hot, and I remember they were hot at me because I didn't win the game for them and this and that. I'm like bro, that's like that's a top 3 team in Europe. You know what I mean? Top 5 for sure. Like we still trying to, you know, get there. So yeah, I mean, but it just started off. It just the whole thing just started off kind of bad. And then we got it going, and then at that point they were off me, man. So but that whole experience, that part, if y'all want to get in that was pretty crazy too.
So one of the questions we like to ask guys, man, you didn't spend a ton of time in Europe, but you've been in some high level places. You play with a bunch of high level players, and you've seen even more, right?
Right.
Can you? It may be tough, and I may be putting you on the spot, but we ask it to every guest. Could you name a starting five of all players who played in Europe? Starting five. Your starting five. You could be in it. You cannot. However you want to do it.
Yeah. Man, right now, man, I would say, well, you got to put Mike James and Shane Larkin.
Okay.
You got to find a way.
Two?
Huh?
That's your 1 and 2?
Yeah, small ball. It's all good. However he wants.
Small ball.
I'm just trying to go. Yeah, I like them. I like them two together. You know, a lot of teams. I mean, you could play 2-point guards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me try to think of my bigs. Are we doing all Americans or just European
However
guys?
you want to do it.
The mix, because what people don't understand, Ray, and I know that you probably didn't understand when you first came over too. Some Europeans that'll bust your ass when you come over here.
Sure. And that's the thing. They might look like it, but you be like, nah, ain't no way. And then it's like, what? This dude ain't got no. He ain't showing no socks. He just got ankle socks on. He out there. He ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Let's stick with the Americans real quick. I like Shane. I like Mike for sure. I like Kyle Hines is.
Yeah.
You got to put Kyle Hines out there. Is Brandon Davies playing the 4 right now still? Or is he playing?
Yeah.
They got him playing the 4?
Yeah.
When I was playing, he was as Algerius. He was tough to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Will Clyburn. I mean, he's from the crib.
Yeah.
He's really,
That's a lot of buckets.
But that's a lot of defense. That's a lot of we can switch and guard everybody. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, but it's hard though, because I can give you a list of a lot of guys that I like over there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the good thing to see is a lot of Americans over there that now are starting to get the credit, you know, that I think they deserve. Because I think before it wasn't like that, but now I think they're kind of changing the game a little bit and opening up some eyes for guys, which is good. Because now I'm telling these young kids here, like, hey, you can go over there and hoop.
Yeah,
like, this is over here living, making money, making a name for themselves. They're to the position like. They're like, I don't want to go to the NBA. Why would I go there, take less bread, and I got all this here? They're getting passed to the national team. Like, it could be good for you. From a kid who being in that side, like never wanting to do it, now seeing it, like, hey, that's actually a good look.
Yeah.
But Ray, you know what the problem with that a lot of times is? Like with these young kids, they think it's easy to come to Europe and just get a job and play.
And that's not the case.
They think
it's hard. It's hard. Like, shoot, we all know.
Yeah.
Like, I was lucky because I had like the NBA title, so I was able to, you know, be able to get in that. But I ain't there right now. Like, that ain't like you could just go over there and play. You know what I mean? People don't understand. I hear these kids say, I'm going to go overseas. Like, nah, bro, you might be playing in some cold country and it's dark and you playing like in a rec center. It ain't like you know what I mean?
Getting paid like $1,500 a month.
Exactly.
If that.
Yeah, if that. So for sure.
So okay.
Go ahead, Dave.
This is another question we like to ask everybody. So we know that, you know, you played against a lot of high-level competition. And we know that, you know, you coming over here, you didn't know what to expect. Now, I want you to be real with me. Now, we asked everybody this question. But lately, a lot of guys has been, you know, they've been real 100 with us.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that gave you work?
The guy that gave me work, let me think.
Oh, Dave, he gonna do this to us?
No. I mean,
okay.
I'm trying to think who gave me the most buckets though. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. There was some nights I'm like, damn, like whew. I'll give American and a European.
Okay, yeah.
So my you're in Malaga, but I mean, he's not American, he's Canadian. Kevin Pangos was hooping.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Zalgiris, he was hooping.
Yeah.
still hoop.
Yeah, and he came to, I think they came to Malaga. They ended up beating us. I had a good game. We were going at it, but he was hooping. And he was hooping.
Hooping like what? Talk to me. What kind of numbers are we talking?
I think it might have been my EuroLeague high though. I think it was 19.
Okay.
And I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know if he had 20, 17, something like that, but 17 felt like 30, you know what I mean? Like it was a lot of threes. He was in his bag. Then when we played him at their place, I was struggling and he was getting off. He was hitting every shot he wanted. And it was one of them things where it's like, I know he was good, but it wasn't like he would just bink, breaking me down, but it was just, you gotta play that game, had me looking crazy.
It wasn't sauce. It was hoop. It was basketball.
Yeah. And that's what I wasn't used to. I'm used to like being able to get a guard my man one-on-one, like he breaking me down, boom, boom. But Kevin was doing other stuff, playing within the team, and it's just like, I'm like, what am I doing?
I feel like that's the biggest difference between, I guess, I don't want to just say the NBA, but like the American style of basketball in general, European style. It's like, nah, this is basketball and this is hooping.
Right.
And he just hit you with basketball.
But like Shane and Mike,
right,
Malcolm Delaney, they hit you with some, some sauce.
Yeah. And you get right back to basketball.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then European wise, I would say the kid from Ephes, Misic.
Oh, Misic.
Oh,
he's nice. He's like 6'6".
Yeah, man. So the year before he was in Zalgiris and he didn't have that role. He was like a defender. He was like picking me up full court and all that. That's another thing. They pick you up full court. It's like, oh, what is this? So then the next year he was in Ephes and I was over there in Turkey. And I mean, he probably had like almost 20 and 10.
Yeah. He's nice.
And them passes were crazy.
So another thing, I'm glad you said that. One thing that we had a guest, a Serbian legend on our show, Igor Rakocevic. And one of the things that he touched on was when you're young and you're European, they make you play a role on a good team. And the role, it sounds like you're saying his role was defensive, but then he he grew up a little bit and showed that he could do more. He was able to, put himself in a different position, and now he actually gets to hoop. But he had to earn that.
Yeah.
He earned it by what you said, guarding you full court.
He earned that. And he was like the next year and gave me some work. I think it was like, I might have been 20 and 10.
Mm-mm.
That's probably what sent me home off that game. I couldn't guard Misic. It was over. But I'm like, bro, he was balling that year. He was hooping that year. And then Shane came over that year too. And then that's when they were hooping.
Yeah.
Those two got me. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, so who's the dude who, you know how dudes could be, man? You're in the game, dude maybe running his mouth a little bit, or maybe he's just being a little extra physical when he don't need to be. Who's that dude who kind of just pushed you into cooking him?
I don't know a specific player. I think there was some times like in the ACB games when some of those guys were like getting off and they was popping off, talking a little bit, speaking the language or whatever. I didn't know what they were saying. It wasn't like they were speaking English.
Right.
But I just look at them like, bro, there's no way. Like, I'm about to let that ride. You know what I mean? And I would just have my little moments where I would just kind of get it going. But I can't think of like a specific player that was like really getting under my skin. I don't really remember like anybody talking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like some of the more domestic players, some of those games they would kind of say a little bit, but I don't really remember much of that.
Yeah,
not in Europe. China is different though.
Talk about it.
Hey, tell us about China. We haven't had too many guys who played in China, so I know that's a whole totally different experience.
Yeah, like China, for me, I love China. Just in terms of like how my European experience went, it was cool. It was more team basketball. I liked it. I liked it a lot. But China was like good for me last year because I kind of just got to play basketball, and just get out there and just, get in your bag and kind of put on a show. But in terms of like trash talk, like, yeah, it's crazy. Like they know enough. They got 2 Americans on the team, so they hear them talks amongst themselves. So they be saying the same stuff we be saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good for me because you're challenged every night. Like your coach, basically same thing. Like there's no English. Like I have a translator, so he's coaching and speaking all Chinese. Most of my teammates are speaking Chinese, and it's like they want you to go out there and try to get 30 and 10 every day. And if you don't do it, like they will send you home. So like I felt like that was more cutthroat than the NBA. It's like you got to perform. And then when I went last year, it was like 2-month contract. So like you got to like perform to get your contract extended for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So like every night you got to hoop. I mean, same with Europe, but a little bit is different. Like this time is like, if you don't get it done, we will get somebody in here to take your job tomorrow if that's the case.
Yeah.
And when I was seeing that happening throughout the league, I was like, man, I never experienced anything like that.
If you don't score your 30 points, they're gonna send you home. In Europe, like you can score 2 points one game, you still be okay.
Yeah.
Can't score points in China.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was like the 2 difference. But I mean, they're both, good experience from the basketball standpoint. I mean, it's 2 totally different games. Europe is, team basketball. I was able to play EuroLeague and get to experience that. And then CBA is, just, get it done. That's basically the best way to put it. Get it done, help your team win, and you'll be okay. But yeah, that's kind of how that went.
And so now you're back. You're in the G League. Why that move?
Well, it wasn't. The G League was not the plan. I thought, truthfully, I thought I was going to go back to China.
Mm-hmm.
And that just kept getting dragged out with visa and then whether teams were going to sign, if I was going to get signed to a team. Then I thought I was going to go to Europe for a second. And then I'm just, the time's just going and going. And I'm turning certain things down. And then now we get to like December and it's like I'm at the crib. Mm-hmm. Mind you, I wasn't really tripping because I ended up going back to China and finishing the season over the summer. I didn't come back home to America until August.
Okay.
So the pandemic and everything, being able to get home, spend some time with my family was good. But then it got to a point where it was like, well, am I going to go to Europe? Am I going to go to China? Some of the offers I wasn't really feeling at the moment. And then this G League thing came up and I was like, okay, it's 6 weeks. I have to play. Mm-hmm. Like I can't take the year off. And then when this came about, I was like, you know what? It wasn't the plan, but it was an opportunity for me to play.
Sure.
And, that's where we're at now. And now I'm out here in this bubble and we just started playing we played the last 2 days and then off to a little rough start, but we'll get it going. And then we got like 3 more weeks and then it's over with. So,
man, what's life like in the bubble? So many people just want to know what life's like in the bubble. Like,
well, this is my second bubble. I just did this in China. So for me, I'm living, to be honest with you.
The bubble.
Like the China bubble was cool, but it was, you're in a room, you can't leave the hotel. We were straight to, the bus picked us up in the tunnel, literally at the hotel, get on the bus, go play the game, come back. Like we're not touching the air. We're not touching the sun. We're not outside. And we did that for 2 months. It's here. I'm down here. We're in Orlando. Same place where the NBA did their bubble. Obviously, the NBA had it here, G League, but it's solid. They're feeding us. Got our own room. It's all hoop. It's kind of crazy. We're playing 15 games, 24 days. So we did the whole quarantine process. And then basically we're just on a campus at Disney. The practice courts are set up in like the hotel and like the convention center rooms.
Yeah.
Our meals are there. And like, that's it. Like we're pretty much locked in. We play at the ESPN Wide World of Sports. And then it's been solid.
So Ray, okay. your time in Europe and in China, do you have any crazy stories of what you've seen, maybe on or off the court, that probably blew your mind and you couldn't believe that you seen that just happened in front of you?
Well, when I was in Turkey, we were out one night.
It had to be Turkey.
Like, we were out one night and everything was cool. We having a good time. Everything was straight. And then, like, next thing I know, like, we're in the car heading back. And everyone's texting us, blowing us up, like, hey, are you okay? You okay? Everything good? And they, like, there was a shooting in the club. And
New Year.
There was a shooting in the club. And, you know, it's just like, that was kind of scary because it's like, man, we were just there. You know what I mean? Like, what if we would have still been in there? Like, who knows how that could have gone? And it's kind of like, that kind of shook me up. You know, like, y'all know Istanbul is a great city, so going out there and everything is fun. But that was kind of real. Like, I don't know, it's not worth doing all that.
Was that New Year's night shooting?
No, I wasn't there. It was the year after. It was the year after there was another one when we were out. And but I knew about that. That's when I was in Spain that year. That's what I was nervous to go play in Istanbul the next year because of that. But I know people that were there that night too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people there were that night too. Trying to think about China, what might have been.
People tell crazy stories about China and the food and the
food. I mean, I was lucky with the food because I was in Shanghai, but on the road, I ain't gonna lie, like, I was eating, like, for a couple games, I had to eat some KFC. I couldn't do some of the food on the road. KFC number 7 chicken sandwich out there still getting a 30 ball. Like, I was like, bro, what is going on, man? But yeah, that was the food. But when I was in Shanghai, I was cool. But yeah, just the amount of people there is crazy, and they love basketball. We played Jeremy Lin, and boy, I tell you, it was like playing against Kobe. His presence out there, that was probably the craziest game I had ever experienced. Like, when I played against Kobe in the league when it was his last year, and like when he was coming up, I think I was in San Antonio, and then when he like came to San Antonio, did a whole tribute and everything, and that was crazy. But when I say when Jeremy Lin came to Shanghai, like, people were in there crying in the stands, like it was like
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it was crazy. Sure. Yeah.
So, Ray, man, we want to thank you for coming on the show, man, giving us, your experiences, the time that you had in Europe and also in the league, D-League, G-League. But for young guys that's coming to Europe to play, is there any insight that you can give them?
Yeah, for sure. I think the problem I hear with a lot of the young players leaving and going to Europe is all about, I'm gonna go get paid. Mm-hmm. Take the money aside. Speaking of y'all had long careers in Europe, right?
Yep.
I think the problem, a lot of these guys is chasing the money, but the key to the success to get the money is the longevity and to keep playing for many, many years.
Yep.
I think coming to Europe, you want to do your research. Obviously, if you're fortunate to get in a league that fits your style of play, I think that first couple of years is important to build your resume in Europe, to get better and understand the game. That way you can, reach the Euro Cup, the Champions League, EuroLeague, you can start building your way up. And you can have a long, successful career over there. That's the thing. Don't look at the now and the money. Like, just take your time and get better and find the right situation. I think you'll be all right. And no, it ain't gonna be sweet either. You're walking into the real world. You're gonna be over there first time on your own probably, and the game is gonna test you in a lot of ways. And guys realize basketball's what they want to do for a living, or they're gonna realize this might not be it for me.
Yep.
And it becomes reality quick.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Ray, man, that's game, man. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for sharing that, especially for these young dudes. But we also want to thank you for coming on the show. I think it's been a great episode. Feel really good about it.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on here, and really like what y'all got going, man. So keep it going.
That's the plan.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on another episode of EuroSteppin Podcast. You can catch us on the Next Ones Network YouTube page, or also you can catch us on nextones.com. Also, whatever audio listening platform you listen to, we're there. That's EuroSteppin Podcast, no G.
Because we got all the game.
Thought it was a joke, what they still playing games for. Holes in my denim, never holes in my game, no. You won't be just like me, they don't love you the same, no. The series 3-0, and I'm back home for game